when we came out with the first radio pagers, which most of your audience probably doesn't even know what a pager is, but that used to
I've
be.
seen one before, Marty. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Those are the things that you clipped on your belt?
Yeah. Well, that was one of the industries that I had some impact on early in my career. But one of the things I had to convince my team, who were extraordinary RF engineers, we even had one guy that knew how to make an integrated circuit to indicate how long ago this was. But it turns out the biggest point of failure in the radio pages we were building was the on-off switch. The failure rate of this mechanical switch was higher than the combination of everything else.
Wow.
And convincing them that either you got to get rid of that switch or make it electronics, that turned out to be a major challenge because they wanted to make better switches, and it turned out mechanical switches were just not the right way to do it. And now you're facing exactly the same thing with the connectors. So, in fact, one of our competitors, when we were building handheld portable two-way radios, came up with a brilliant technical concept was modules. Okay. He was worried about repairing these things, where he should have been worried, by the way, of making them more reliable. Mm-hmm. And so he built a product that had a whole bunch of modules, so that if something broke, you could just replace the module. Great idea, right? It also introduced hundreds of mechanical contacts, and there's no way to build that product, even with today's technology, never mind 30 or 40 years ago. So sometimes you could have what you think is a good idea, and it's disastrous.
Yeah, it's history repeats itself, right? So both in terms of the on-off switch with the pager, and essentially that's the same problem that product companies are facing today with pogo pins and spring clips and other kind of physical connectors. But the other way history repeats itself is almost literal. I remember when Google owned Motorola Mobility, they publicly had a project going. I can't remember the name right now, but I'm sure we can put it up on the screen. We'll find it. But what it was is a modular phone. It was a modular mobile phone. You could put on different things. And so this was a little different. This wasn't for replaceability or repairability. But what this was for is like, if you wanted a big hefty camera, you could put on a 4-square module. If you want a small camera, it could be a 1-square module. If you want great speakers, you could put different modules on. So it was like a bunch of tiles on the back of the phone. And I'm just sitting here listening to you talk about one of your competitors that invented a modularized phone, probably 30, 40 years in advance of that. And they went for it again. And truthfully, I think one of the biggest failure points was all of the connectors. The physical connectors made that device, although really interesting in concept, very, very difficult, if not impossible, to manufacture at mass production scale and at price and at costs levels where they could price it appropriately for the customer. So history really does repeat itself, huh?